Hello YouTube friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Trish Crosby, and I would like to show you how I painted these watercolor daisies for you guys today. If you're interested in having a drawing for this painting today, I have added a template to my Etsy store where you can go on and purchase a copy of this template, and you can print it out to any size paper that you would like, and you can use it as many times as you like once you download it. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description box below for my Etsy store, and that way you can have this template to make this painting go a little bit easier. So for today's painting, I'm going to be using my MaimeriBlu watercolor set. They're professional watercolors from Italy. Just feel free to use whatever you have on hand. And I started off this background with some ultramarine blue and some yellow vanadium. That's what MaimeriBlu uses, the name, but I would call it more of a lemon yellow. So, and I'm just dotting in while this is still wet, so letting these colors just kind of flow together. The yellow and the blue are going to mix and kind of make these green shades, and then I'm using Quinacridone Lake for this kind of a violet purple color, and I'm just letting these colors flow together. For the drawing, I used a really fine-tipped fine liner pen to draw out these daisies. I wanted to have sort of like a sharper drawing to use for this painting, and I actually like the way that it turned out in the end, so I'll probably do this a lot more in many paintings to come. I like the way the pen made the centers of the flowers. I could sharpen up those details on the flowers. Other than that, this painting is pretty loose, so just as you can tell, I wasn't really staying in the lines. I would just kind of let the colors flow. So for the center of these flowers, I'm using that yellow vanadium and some cadmium yellow deep and some orange lake to create the centers of these flowers. I wanted the orange to be kind of darker down at the bottom and the centers to be more yellow. And then I'm just using some leftover paint that I have on my palette that was made from some Payne's Gray and some of that Quinacridone Violet and some ultramarine. It's just a hodgepodge of colors left on my palette, so I'm allowing this to build these colors for these flowers, because I want the petals that are in the back to be darker, and I want the petals in the front to be lighter, and I wanted to be able to put in like these I guess they're veins in the flowers. So I'm just using this mess that I have on my palette. As you can see, I have a lot of that color down there. I was using it for another painting, and I had a lot left over, so I figured I would use it for this painting. So I'm just using that color, and I'm just building up the centers of these flowers to create some depth towards the center, and putting in these veins that I'm putting in are just a really like watered down use of this color, because I wanted these flowers to look really white against the background. For this background, you could literally make this background look however you want. You can use greens, you can use yellows, you can make it rainbow if you want. That's the cool thing about having this template. You can print this template out as many times as you want, and you can create this painting in many different variations if you like. And you can also add to this drawing, add some more flowers in the background if you wanted, or just let your imagination run wild. So that link is in the description box if you're interested. I had many people that were asking me for templates because sometimes it's difficult when you're learning how to draw to get, your dimensions correct. And like for me, when I started painting, I just wanted to paint. I didn't want to have to think about the drawing. And when I started out, I did a lot of tracing, and now I've traced so many different flowers and different things that I can do it by just memory now. And that's one of the good things about tracing. You'll learn over time, how to do it on your own. So if you would like the template, it's available to you. So I'm just taking this different shades of this ultramarine blue and this Payne's gray and this purple color that I mixed up on my palette. And I'm putting it on the underside of these flowers because I want it to look like there's a shadow on the underside. And I'm just laying down that pigment, and then I'm just blending out with water because I wanted it to just blend back in with the background. I didn't want it to be, like these hard lines under there. My MaimeriBlu palette doesn't have a green, and so for the green, for the stems and the leaves, I'm going to be mixing up some yellow ochre and some turquoise green that I have in my palette, and that's going to create the green that I'm using in this. You could use a Van Dyke green or a yellow green or whatever you want, whatever you have in your palette for this green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that yellow vanadium, which is closer to a lemon yellow, and use that to give me various lighter shades of this green. So I'm using that yellow vanadium, which is like the lemon yellow, to just soften up this green and kind of give it just a little punch of color. The green color that you see on my palette is an Old Holland color that I added to this palette, and I'm just trying to stick with my MaimeriBlu for this painting. So I know it's ridiculous, but I could have very easily used that green from Old Holland, but I didn't. I just mixed up these greens for this painting. And as you can tell, my lines for this drawing are kind of like overlapping in some places where I just allowed the background to kind of infiltrate those lines. That's okay. It's weird because once you get this completed, the lines for the drawing kind of pop out. So it just kind of creates, some variations with these colors and these leaves and everything in the background. So in these areas where there's still some white on this paper, I'm just using whatever color I believe will just kind of blend those out and get those taken care of, because they kind of look like eyesores at this point. And I'm just using the darker shades of this green and letting it mix in with that yellow vanadium to create these leaves. If you would like to follow along with this video has been sped up to 3.5 times. In the YouTube settings below, you can hit the settings icon and go to the video playback speed, and you can slow this video down to whatever speed you would like. I've used that setting many times in my YouTube watching other people's videos. It's really helpful when you're not going to be able to paint at this speed. This is like 3.5 times. So feel free to slow this video down if you would like to paint along. So you can see these white spots now. They're really starting to like show themselves. And so I'm just going to use some of that leftover paint on my palette to kind of clean up these edges a little bit and get rid of these white spots. You could even use salt on this background to make it kind of give it some more texture. I think that would be a really cool background for this painting. You could also make the background a lot darker, and I think that would make these flowers pop even more, like with a really saturated ultramarine blue. The reason why I chose the ultramarine blue is because I wanted the centers of these daisies to kind of pop. That yellow orangey color against the blue or the purple would make them pop. So feel free to experiment with this background, and you could even experiment with these flowers. You could make them pink, you could make them orange, you could make them completely yellow. You can do whatever you want with this. This painting is up for your imagination to make it yours. So now I'm just using that fine liner pen to kind of sharpen up these little black stamens that are in these daisy centers, and just kind of cleaning up this flower to make the drawing a little bit darker over here on this little daisy bud. And that's going to complete it for today. Here comes the tape pull, which is so much fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please feel free to subscribe, and thanks for watching.